As always, you take a look at all the front pages and see what they're saying, and then from there, dig a bit deeper into the respective dailies. We start off with the People Daily's front page. Drama as defiant, Sossion ejected. End of the road, the PD asks Teachers Union top organs votes to send beleaguered Secretary General home and instills his deputy as acting boss. But abrasive trade unionist dismisses move as nullity. The high drama that was seen yesterday at Mfangano Street just tells another story right there. Front page of the Daily Nation, dying giant, not in survival and fight for survival. Yesterday's chaos signaled a most ignominious disintegration of a 62-year-old union rather, that has generally remained intact, commanded unwavering support from its 200,000 members, and gained respect from the Teachers Service Commission. They're leading with that story as well. The Standard taking a political angle to the news of the day. MP secret card to stop Punguza Mzigo bill. Lawmakers are plotting to exploit a loophole in the Constitution that would see them freeze the attempt to reduce their numbers to 147 from the current 416. Every single day, say, ask yourself what side of the fence your MP is sitting on when these things come to the House. The Star's front page, scandal is what they're going with. Sex scandal rocks Prophet Owor's church. Women faithful gave horrifying accounts of how Bishop Joseph Gitonga, Owor's long-term personal assistant, was sexually abusing them. This, of course, is a story that is there. Church lawyer Okongo Mogeni confirms Bishop has been removed, and that's the story that the Star is leading with. And then on the front page of the Business Daily, Safaricom's market value beats all others at the NSC. That's the story that you can get right there. So now let's dig a bit deeper and see the big stories of the day this morning. Marcus Anyiko, karibuni sana.
Asante.
Okay, welcome to the new studio. This whole week, everyone who sits here has to say, how are you liking the new home?
I love it. It's amazing. I love it.
I like there's a wall over there that most people can't see.
Right.
But this is the dream wall of my house. It is wonderfully illuminated. I love it.
And then a photographer gives you a tick on your wall, my friend.
Yeah.
You're doing something right. You're doing something right. Yes. So Marcus Anyiko, karibuni sana. Let's quickly look at some of the stories that we're waking up to this morning. We'll start off with the People Daily. Drama as defiant, Sossion ejected. This broke yesterday at around 10 in the morning. Lots of drama at NAT. SG still saying he's not going anywhere. He's going to stay put. The meeting that they had to eject him was actually supposed to, wasn't supposed to take place because the court had given an injunction on that. And yet here we are. And an organization that you know is Solidarity Forever is anything but as we go into the weekend, Marcus. How is it looking for the NAT from where you stand?
You could say this is a bad joke alert. Nat is going nuts. This is one of those things that the two sides of the conversation are very interesting. There's the one side of the fact that in Kenya we tend to have a lot of emphasis on possessions and people, and we synonymize the two.
Right.
And a key part of this entire thing seems to be that the fact that Nat and Sossion have become essentially
it's one and the same.
One thing. So then this is what I feel, and on a personal front it's a good strategy. Use that to your advantage. I mean, emphasize on the fact that I am the person that has brought you to this point.
Right.
So why would you want to remove me? So it's that highly personalized political situation that is now playing out. I never saw this coming, if I'm being honest. Never, ever did.
And yet here we are with, I mean, a union saying that they have a new Secretary General, and it is not Sossion. They should be talking to Tieno as a new acting Secretary General as they decide how to move forward. Anyiko, here we are. Teachers wondering now, who's the leader?
This is so dramatic. And actually my mom was, and father also was a teacher. So I see how the situation is now and didn't used to be like this. I think it shouldn't get this political because it's almost getting as political as politicians in politics. So I wish there would be more amicable ways of solving this, because these dramas at the top always trickle down to the bottom. And you find in the schools, this is actually what's going to be happening. Like just fighting of heads. It's just not a good show. No.
And of course, we're waiting to see how this will fare out as we get into the weekend. And of course, Monday, because clearly no sign of letting up on either side. The battle lines have been drawn, and it's wait and see as far as that story is concerned. On the second page of the People Daily, governors threatened to close counties over revenue row. They said if they don't get money by the 16th of September, all 47 county governments will just shut. They can't move, they can't do anything, they can't pay workers. They'll wait now until the money comes, everyone just bounces. That's how we are looking at things right now. And it's interesting because even as you say this, there was a report that came in that last year, they spent, I think, 228 billion and left so much in treasury. So people are wondering, okay, if you can't absorb the money that you're given,
why are you fighting for an increase? Yeah, yes. I feel like this is one of those, again, money, Kenya equals power and also the opportunity to, unfortunately, steal. So the more money there is to go around, the more money there is to go around, allegedly. I say that for my lawyer. But it's one of those, again, going back into the power play and the fact that our local, what's it called, the county governments, admittedly are doing a lot on the local level, for those that are actually working. Right. There's some that are doing a lot. If you look at the example of Kitui, if you look at the example of Makwani, there are counties that are doing a lot for their citizens, for their constituents. And for those, I would very freely fight for them to get more. But then there's a vast majority that, in all honesty, when someone has stayed in a hotel for the first 3 years of their term, surely, why do you want more instead of using what you already have a little bit better? Right. Just a bit.
Right. As Marcus is saying, it seems like they just want more to go around.
I think before they get more money, they need to show what they're doing. And like you mentioned, Makueni County, they actually have a website which shows like ongoing projects, ongoing tenders, completed projects. And I just wonder if one county can have this. Why can't we have this even for Nairobi County? Because I'm living in Nairobi. So I think before we keep giving you money, before you keep getting money, please show us where the money is going. Right. If you cannot show us where the money is going, then shut down.
Don't ask for more money.
Shut down.
That's the story that you can get on page 2 of your People Daily. We'll now move on to page 24, the Spice magazine and Spice part of your People Daily. The skin-deep stereotype, that's what they're talking about here. Kenyan media and entertainment industry are replete with talent, but as Alpha Nyango says, disparities wrought by skin color and other issues limit their exposure. We've always had that story, Bona Marcus. Rangi Yathao, Team Light Skin, it's actually a hashtag and a team.
Yes.
What do you think about this particular story? You've been in the media, you're a photographer as well. When it comes to the subjects that get, much more popularity, is it only skin deep?
There is a lot of truth to this, unfortunately. And quite recently, I think about 6 months ago, a friend of mine ran a campaign, Joan Korea, talking about the fact that there is a bias against darker-skinned humans in general. And it's something that's very alive right here in our scenes. Go simple as could possibly be. Go to Instagram right now. Some of the most popular posts are indeed women of the lighter disposition. It's something that is deeply entrenched in us. The fact that we are talking about it is a good step because it now it makes us aware of our biases and we now start to correct them. For instance, this is something that I wasn't conscious about, but when I look at some of my super previous images, I did have this bias as well. I admit. Irony being, look at my skin. I mean,
the irony isn't lost.
Yes. I am as dark chocolate as dark could be. But being aware of it now, a lot of my work is now, even in terms of what I'm showcasing, is moving more towards more fair representation across the reality of our existence. The fact that there is you as you are, there is you, Anyiko, as you are, and there are plenty more people that are out there as they are. It's embracing ourselves in our own skin, in our own stories.
Anyiko, you've been in this, on both sides. As a lady who probably at times when you're taking a picture, the light skin debate comes up as a representation of, representing talent who probably aren't as light skinned as the industry might tell them to be. How has it been on both sides of this particular coin? I mean,
I've even worked with some artists who, especially ladies, who did not want themselves to be seen a little darker, and they would try and put maybe some powder on a place where it's not too dark, and I'm like, it's okay, like it's fine, like powder is for the face, not like for the leg. And I understand that there's the real pressure and there's the stereotype, and I think speaking of Kenyans and my people, I think there's a lot of perception that we can change, that needs to be changed, because I see how a lot of women who are not light-skinned or vice versa sometimes don't feel comfortable in their skin. I think it starts with us, the women, and it also goes to the media. So sometimes media perceives like the ladies who are lighter are more beautiful. And that's why people want us, like, I don't know, put some some pictures to look lighter on social media and stuff like that. But then when we meet you, you're not like, that's not how you look.
Right.
So, I mean, it just starts with you personally. I think we really need to inculcate a culture that celebrates all our skin colors. But I don't think we have that culture as of now.
Right, right. And I think it starts with such conversations and making people realize that whatever skin tone you have, that's the best skin tone you could possibly have, and just appreciate that and love being in your own skin. More stories can be found in your copy of the People Daily right there. We now move on to the Daily Nation. Front page of the Daily Nation was talking about Nats woes, dying giant in fight for survival. Teacher union officials defy court order in bid to kick out Sossion from office. That's a story that you can get right there. But we'll dig deeper into the network magazine pullout of the Daily Nation. Job search motivation, 6 ways to get through the hunt and win in the end. And you know, when was the last time you actually went and looked for a job? Now that you're self-employed, when was the last time you went for an interview?
I don't remember, but I feel like I go for interviews every day, because when clients call you and say, oh, we have a project we want to pitch to you, it's sort of like an interview, but it's an informal type of interview. Right. So, yeah.
And for you, how do you put your best foot forward when you're told, come, there's a pitch we have?
I mean, first be there on time, look good, know what you're saying, be research on the client, you know what type of business they do. So, yeah.
Okay, so it's all about punctuality and research.
Yeah.
For you, Bwana Marcus? Last time you went into an office with your CV in hand?
It has been a while, admittedly. I usually rely on the results of my previous work to get me to the next level. So it's exactly what Anyiko has said. It's one of those things where you're constantly in interview mode, because the next call will lead to the next, to the next. You're only ever, there's this phrase, as good as your last gig.
I was going to say that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's one of those things that where even in your execution of your work, and this is a feeling I know you're very familiar with, as you're there, you can sense the eyes of people looking at you and trying to suss out whether this is someone that I would work with in the future. It's constant interview mode. Constant.
So
and I feel like that's how we need to approach generally every interaction as well. Seeing everyone as a possible future partner, not necessarily employer, future partner, because for some of us the path doesn't end with employment, maybe it'll go into something else in the future. So it's never looking beyond someone and thinking, I don't need you, let me not talk to you this way, or it's a constant awareness of
and that's important for people even who say that I'm just working here for 2 years and I move on. If you think of this as a possible partnership in the future, you might come back in a different role with your organization that you have and your former employer and have something work out. So some gems right there, even if you wouldn't see them walking around with the brown envelope and CV. Take some notes as far as that's concerned. Quickly move along to the Standard. Front page of the Standard, MP secret card to stop Punguza Mzigo bill. Lawmakers are planning to exploit a loophole in the constitution that would see them freeze attempt to reduce the numbers, their numbers to 147 from the current 416. Now, in this story, their plan, and of course what they're saying is that if indeed it goes through the county assemblies and it gets to parliament, there's no time frame they've been given as to which they need to pass this through. So they can sit on this for as long as they want, do the other biasharas, go campaigning, do whatever they need, and just make sure time elapses right there. Anyiko?
Yeah.
This is your Mheshimiwa who might want to do this because he doesn't want to lose his job. He doesn't want to hold his CV in his hand and go looking for one. Where do we stand with that, Anyiko?
Oh my God, I'm just envisioning a future where we'll have less parliamentarians and more policies put on the table to secure a better future for our country. You know, a lot of the things that are being given, front page attention, and a lot of things they're discussing don't really concern us. A lot of things they're discussing concern them. And it's really a man-eat-man society, and I just still want to see our politicians debate over us, debate over our future, debate over our children.
That's what they should be doing. And it's interesting because even as you say that,
how does this concern me? Like, this is your problem, not my problem. My problem is I need less people here, so I don't have to pay as much tax as I'm paying.
Because clearly most of them are not effective. Let's just be honest.
Okay, and as Mr. Marcus, even as you say that, National Assembly Minority Leader John Buddy says, this bill is very unpopular with MPs of both houses. We may decide not to make any decision on it and delay it as much as we can. So nothing to do with our constituents, our citizens. It's in the house that we don't like it.
And consistently, the language that they're using is very telling of where their interests are. There has been very little, if anything, to do with you and me as a person who is actually suffering at this particular moment. There's been very little to it. A lot of it is, oh, it's not popular amongst our party, our people, our da-da-da-da. Nothing to do with, my constituents have said this. And if you go on the ground, the vast majority of the sentiment thus far is, yes, we need relief off of this tremendously annoying load that has been on our backs for the last couple of years. It's ridiculous in a context of, so these are people who are quote unquote fighting to keep their jobs, which is something that every single Kenyan is doing at the moment. Wider context again, how many layoff headlines have we seen over the last couple of months? Clearly, there is very little money to go around. And some select people who are supposed to represent our interests are hoarding all of it. Yet here they are with the, you know, the idea that because we don't like it, we shall sit on it. Yeah, we'll just chill. Until. We'll just chill. You guys go hang, but we'll just chill. That's a story that you can get, of course, and it's a lead story in your copy of The Standard right there. But if we jump into the Pulse magazine, their story they're going with is esports and how it's gaining a lot of popularity, and not only across the world, but now in Kenya. And it's all about the games people are playing. And now it's looking at a point where they're saying that the Kenyan market, as far as esports is concerned, is worth around 6.15 billion Kenyan shillings, and that was in 2017. And they look at this growing and growing and growing. Now, a leading telco has decided to, you know, be part of an esports tournament. Are we getting to an age where you'll talk to your younger brother, your cousin, and they're like, me, I don't want to go and become a lawyer. I want to get into esports. I'm an esport player. That's what I'm looking for, a team. Already happening. Already happening. I mean, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, there was this global tournament in which the winner was it a 16-year-old or a 14-year-old, and raked in billions in dollars from that particular one. So of course people saw it and thought, yeah, this is affirmation of what my dream is, what I want. And in all honesty, I think it's a very valid line, because we are living in a constantly evolving world. If we keep thinking about jobs as being what we've thought about them in the past, then there's nowhere we are going. We need to adapt, we need to evolve. So this is actually a space that a lot of people can take advantage of. A lot of us can play in that space, full pun intended. Today you're replete with the puns. Let me tell you, it is coffee. Coffee. And as he says that, you know, looking at the evolution of careers, you know, a while back, you'd have been in school and said, no, I want to represent artists and be a talent manager and do PR. And people would ask you, Anyiko, what is that? Exactly. Now here we are, and people want to get into esports professionally. That's all they want to do. Exactly. It's interesting because yesterday I had a meeting with a movie maker, and she was just like updating me on stuff, and she was actually telling me that the genre of gaming is currently as big as the genre of like broadcast or any other form of like content that people are taking in. Gaming is just as big as television at the moment, globally. So I guess even in Kenya, people are, you know, catching up. On that. Yeah. Okay, and of course, very many people now are being told, next time you see your kid playing a video game, don't say they're wasting time. You know, as a parent, as a guardian, as an elder brother or sister, observe. This could be the next, you know, revenue stream for this young person. Yeah, so more details of that, of course, in the Standard. We move on now to the Star, front page of the Star. Sex scandal rocks Prophet Owor's church. Church lawyer Okongo Mogeni confirms the bishop in question has been removed. Women faithful giving horrifying accounts of how Bishop Joseph Gitonga, who's Owor's long-term personal assistant, was sexually abusing them. This week has been bad for the church. You know, we started off with Nganga, Bishop Nganga, being sued by his congregation after what he said about their manhood and what he would do to it. The NCCK, for the past couple of days, had a lot of wrangles going on. It was going to be the general secretary there. Yesterday, they tried to, you know, just bring things to order. And now here we are, the mightiest mighty prophet in the crosshairs of sexual assault. Who will you go to for guidance? We look at the politics of the day, we're like, no, we don't want here, let me run to church. And then you're greeted by this, Marcus. I feel that this is something that is, these are things that are coming to light now that have always been there. It's just that they've been playing under the surface. It's just that there's been this reverence for the church that is now dissipating. And I'm happy that it is, because the church shouldn't be on the pedestal that it is today. I know there are people that will be very unhappy with that, and I know my phone will be buzzing a lot in the next couple of hours. However, truth is that as a church, I'm going to use the word we because I am part of it, we have been incredibly corrupt over decades. Incredibly corrupt, morally, spiritually, even in this. These are things that have been happening over the last couple of decades. It's not something that is new. The fact that people are now brave enough to talk about it is what the change has been. And I am happy about that change, because then fewer people will be taken advantage of. Because the reality is, church is a position of power. And a lot of men take advantage of that power. And I'm happy that there are more women, more people, more faithful that are able to call out their so-called pastors and prophets and moms and dads and call them out and say, listen, what you're doing at this particular point in time, this is wrong. And this is based on my understanding of what Christianity is supposed to be about. That I'm very, very happy about.
Okay, Anyiko, as you can see, this week full of headlines and the church, not in a good light at all, Anyiko.
I am getting lost, and I am just one of those followers who's watching TV or who goes to church and who's also getting lost. And if this is happening in church, and like Marcus rightfully says, this has already been happening. We're only seeing it being spotlighted now. What is happening on a day-to-day? You know, what is the young person who wants to get into church thinking? So when I was growing up, you know, this type of things were not on the news, but they're probably happening. But this also lets me know that, hey, you need to be careful with whoever you're following. And at this point, I think we'd rather stay home and pray at home.
I think just read your Bible and interpret it how you see. That is the safest option right now. Well, it's a case that, of course, that will be followed very keenly due to the profile of the church and the pastor right there. And we'll be giving you all the details of that as it unfolds right here, of course, on K24 television. Even as we come and wrap up the news review at this particular point, let's look at a story that also made quite a bit of headlines. The Kibra by-election, and not from a political front, but the personalities that were brought to the fore. It wasn't really about the parties. We were talking about Chris Darling coming there and what he did, kneeling for Raila, Mariga being thrown into the race, talks of Dennis Oliech coming in. Are we looking at a new crop of leader right now as we go into the future as far as our politics is concerned?
My current concern is the fact that a lot of this conversation isn't being fronted from what's in the best interest of Kibera constituents. It's from who is being fronted by whom. So-and-so is person one's candidate. So-and-so is person two's candidate. So-and-so is vying to be the candidate of so-and-so. It's very little to do with Kibra itself, which is a key part of my childhood was Kibera. Right near these the toy market stalls. And my mom used to have a shop there. So it's a place that is very, very dear and close to my heart. And the fact that we have just had a representative that we feel was truly about the development and growth of the area and of the people, and then seeing this conversation devolve into a, how to put this delicately, a manhood measuring contest?
Because of time, we'll put it at that particular point. Anyiko, for you in 30 seconds, what's happening now?
Politics shouldn't be about celebrity. So when I see celebrities kneeling down or being picked, handpicked, it's not what the Kibera people want. And not just for Kibera people, but whatever constituency. They need someone who probably is from there, knows their day-to-day struggle. These people don't even go to Kibera. They go to take pictures, and now they want to stand for to be the member of parliament for the place. Nah.
Okay. You've heard it, and that's why we leave it as far as the newspaper review this Friday is concerned. But Marcus Olang, thank you so much for coming and sharing your views.
Thank you very much.
Anyiko as well, asante sana for coming through this morning. You know, most people see you behind the scene when the artist is being pushed on stage. Now we get to hear your views as well. Asante sana, as always, for this. And of course, as we promised you, every single Friday we do exactly that. We move away from the politics of the day and look at other stories beyond the political headlines as to how they affect you as well. We take a short break. We're back on the other side. DJ Slick is here and ready to go. Also, of course, your feedback coming up. So as always, tweet us, get us at K24 TV or SMS 21.